because that's what I do all the time with topics, stories, information, events, and my personal opinions of situations that are going on in society at this moment. Everything discussed on this podcast show can be found on any social media website, can be found anywhere on any streaming platform, news outlet source, or anywhere else. Once again, this show is based on entertainment purposes. The views that are expressed are from a theoretical, knowledgeable, and documented standpoint. So don't quote me because I didn't say ish, and everything I'm saying is pretty much irrelevant in what's happening right now in society. I don't talk about celebrity gossip because I'm not a celebrity gossiper. So this is basically pretty much my opinions, views, and things I want to talk about and discuss. Once again, you're hearing the Slapper Slumper in the background I produce. This is available on SoundCloud and on multiple music streaming platforms. I have multiple instrumental albums, so pick one of them up. Songs are only probably 50 cents. They're on multiple different, once again, social media streaming music platforms. So, hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so let's get to the situation discussion. Um, as you can see, the topics are true events one, true events two, and conversation time. So, last time I talked to you about a place called Watsonville, California. Right, a very distinctive place, very active place that I stated that I didn't know had so much stuff going on. Um, I told you about my property that was stolen there. I told you about the situation that we were involved in a fire with Mr. Francis Gritson, and how he was cooking crystal meth and he affected the lives of multiple people there who were staying in the complex. One of them happened to be a family with children that lived directly underneath us, who place was lightweight flooded due to when the fire department came from Aptos, California, Santa Cruz, California, and Watsonville, because they all were joined in at that time during the COVID, and they had to come and chop through the walls because this gentleman was cooking crystal meth in the bathtub and inside of a microwave, and pretty much he didn't go to jail, which I found very strange. And like I said, the fireman stated that he had a history of doing these type of things, and he was on a low income housing program, which gave him the benefit. He repeatedly did stuff that was of this nature. Um, I didn't get into some of the other details. One of the details I wanted to also speak on was that I have a vehicle. It was broken into. My window was shattered. It's also on my Instagram stories. Um, I had moved into the building, but I had so much stuff it couldn't fit into the small apartment that I had. So I was gonna put the rest. I put the rest into storage. Um, at that time, I had just moved in. Like I probably had been in that area for like probably almost close to a month, almost close to 3 weeks. So within those 3 weeks, my vehicle was broken into. Um, they had took two knives, a gun clip I had in the vehicle, and a vacuum. They ended up returning the vacuum. A gentleman took it from a person who he claimed stole it from me, which I don't know if it's really true or not. He claimed it was some kids who gave it to him, so I don't know. The gentleman who I caught with the stuff before prior to that was a drug addict that was a neighbor of mine that got kicked out because they caught him on the video. I had to contact the mayor of Watsonville, I want to put that on my timeline too, also to show people. Um, because at that time, it was like the person had done it 3 times, and they had a camera system in there, and for some reason, they did not want to give me the video for my insurance. So I can prove who did it, so I can get my money back. Because you got to pay a deductible when somebody breaks into your vehicle. Now, I'm not for going out and spying on people and telling on people that nature. No, I'm not into stuff of causing problems for anybody because I'm not involved in that type of lifestyle to begin with. I'm over here minding my own business, going to school and going to work and having a company. And this gentleman is a Dauphine meth head who decided to come and mess with my property. So since he was a nobody and a tweaker, a knock, I wanted to get my money back, and I asked him nicely, kindly, hey, can I get that video to prove that somebody did this? It wasn't about getting his name. It wasn't about, trying to get him arrested. It was more of just showing proof that this had happened, that I was not making up this story and it wasn't a far fetched story. And I didn't just create this out of thin air. And I just didn't break my window and steal my own knives and my own property out of my vehicle and just to get money. It wasn't because, you have to prove that to people because people do run scams nowadays. They will pretend that their property is stolen. They will pretend that they got into an accident. They'll do things of that nature to act as if, you know, something happened when it didn't happen so they can receive an income and they can do a manipulation. I know about the fraud cases, which I've never myself been involved in none of these type of things. So, um, yeah, they didn't really know what to do with that. I had to contact the mayor of Watsonville. Um, she then informed the police department to hand over the video to me, which they did not comply. Um, I have those messages all in email. I'm gonna post those up on my timeline again because I like to say these are true events. These are things that truly happened to me. For some people, it's shocking. For some people, they would say, "Oh, that's against the law. You should have a lawsuit and things of this nature." Yeah, I think so too. But when pursuing these type of things against certain entities, they can shift blame. They can manipulate, come up with stories, make up stories, lies, things of this nature. And then come to find out later on down the road, I was able to go online. And when I was able to go online, I was able to pull up cameras in the area. So they had cameras in the city, right? But also they had a website for anybody that can log on. Like any normal citizen can log on to this free city and county website where all the cameras were located. And lo and behold, they had a camera outside that you can see everything that was going on. And I said to myself, wow, so if these people broke into the parking lot, which they were not supposed to be in, which was the gentleman, that's how they were able to catch him because they seen him. But when it came to me asking for the video to see him so I can prove it to my insurance, they didn't want to give me the video. So yeah, that was a true event in Watsonville, California. I just didn't want you to think this was a make believe story. It happened. Um, like I said, I was involved in the fire there. The management there was also doing a lot of I would say illegal activity because they were taking monies from individuals under the false pretense that they were also giving it to an insurance company, and this was supposed to be deducted out of your rent payment, so you would pay the extra for rental insurance because in California that is mandatory now to have rental insurance. So yeah, they had a lot of stuff going on. A lot of lawsuits, a lot of stuff going on with them. I'm still at it right now with a company that was supposedly the Mr. Francis Gritson. It was his insurer, his rental insurance, supposedly. And with them, I'm still at it with them because they didn't compensate me for the stuff that I lost. And a lot of people made false claims in that situation, and they lied and stated that they were involved with the fire when they were never even the recipients of any of the damage. So it just shows you how deep it really is, you know, and how much I had to endure in that time period of living in that place. But other than that, like I said, it was also a good experience because I got a chance to go to places like I stated that was like seaside, um, Monterey Bay. I got a chance to go to a lot of different other places. Um, and I got a chance to experience a lot of different fun events, you know, a lot of beautiful trails, looking at the ocean, the coastline, going to multiple different beach. I went to Pismo Beach. Um, it was just a big experience, but also too was something that kind of gave me a wake up call to how we still live in a society full of stuff that's going on that's not really legal. But you live and you learn. So yeah, the event had happened on, I think it was 2000. It was February the 22nd, 2021, when the event had happened. That was the day, the second day of the fire. It's on my page. It has like 40 views on my Instagram page. You can see the inside of his apartment. You can see the roof that's open. You can see the deterioration of the place. You can see that he had the pills in there. You can see pretty much everything. Um, it was a true event. It was kind of life changing because I had done firefighting for 10 years. I had myself never been involved in a structure fire, or any type of thing of that nature. I said construction. I apologize. I meant to say structure fire. So, with that being said, that was my first actual true event experience dealing with a structure fire and seeing how it moved and how it was able to get into the walls. And since the building itself was old and the materials are old, the building was deemed unsafe. And like I stated, they had to tear down half of the part of the building, and they had to strip the floorboards. They had to strip the walls. They had to do a lot of stuff. They had to replace a lot of the materials because the building was out of code. I also put a picture of that too. I want to try to get that picture up there too also. So yeah, it was a true event that happened to me. I documented it so other people can see that lifetime experience. Um, like I said, during that time, it was just a lot of strange events going on. The events was just very odd. I didn't let them break me. I didn't let it destroy me. I didn't let it um discourage me. So I didn't feel like I had enough ammo on me to fight back and still be myself and live my life, because most people when they're going through a catastrophic event like that, they tend to implode on themselves, or they tend to harbor it all in and they don't really express it. So my outlet was to put it on social media and then express what happened so that way I can get it off my chest and people can see what was going on. But yeah, the news station was there. Um it was a big event. I also feel very sorry for a lot of people that were elderly there because, like I stated, they were affected. And due to the building having that event, they had to move a lot of people out. Some people became displaced during that time because, by the grace of the Most High, I give all praise to my Savior and the King of all kings and the Messiah. I give the glory, magnify. and exalt his name with the highest praise. Um, I pretty much had my faith, and we were able to get a place due to my faith in the Most High and getting a blessing. Um, but other people were not that lucky because they were also, like I stated, being taken advantage of. Once again, I told you about the gentleman that was in the military, and he was older. And what had happened was those buildings were plagued by people who were bringing in drugs. They were taking advantage of a lot of elderly people and other people who they put fear into them. And the lady had told me she didn't do no drugs, but she had to buy a small amount because she was scared that these people were going to hurt her. And she gave it to the police and they wouldn't really do anything about it. And later on, that lady ended up moving out. She moved out. She found a place. She actually ended up going to school with us in Aptos, California, to Cabrillo Community College. So she did good. She made it out. Other people, I couldn't really understand the situation. Try to put a word in to advocate for them. Try to speak up for people. But like I stated, it was bigger than what I estimated to be the root cause of the situation. It was more people involved and criminal stuff going on. So that was a true event I had to get an eye opener on. That was like living in Gotham City or something like that. When you see the officials are crooked, you see the town is lightweight crooked, you see stuff going on, you see there was a lot of child molesters there, a lot of drugs being sold in the park area where children would come through. There was cases upon cases that was going on up over there. A lot of human trafficking. I didn't know it was that big of a ordeal in a small farming town because I also had a chiropractor there, and he was like, "Wow, I didn't know that this place was plagued by so many gangs that came here." And he said during the COVID time, a lot of them moved over there and started to take root and take over in those areas because the law enforcement was not really active. Um, so much stuff was shut down. Then they started to get a foothold and grasp in those areas and to pretty much take over. I said, "Wow, I didn't know that neither." To coming here and a gentleman had pulled a firearm on me when I was getting my groceries out of my vehicle one day. Um, Another gentleman, like I said, he had broken into my vehicle. Living there, I also had a firearm. A gentleman had a firearm in the elevator with me. Um, it was just a lot of people that were involved in criminal acts and of intimidation, and I can see why a lot of the elderly people that did live in those buildings, in those places, in those areas were pretty much scared because they had no true outlet during that COVID time. And during the COVID time, it was so much scams and schemes and different activities going on that law enforcement had their hands pretty much in a tie. They couldn't really go from here to there to there to there and deal with all these different things. So that was a true event. And then moving on to Santa Cruz, I had another true event where I had a manager that had my first manager when I moved into the place after the fire. He was a drug addict. I didn't know that neither. He ended up stealing money from the tenants there. So he came up with a scheme too during the COVID. So and during the COVID time, it was a lot of different um artists, scam artists, a lot of people doing stuff, a lot of true colors of people came out during that time. He ended up taking like 45,000 or more. I'm not sure the amount they stated. Him and another coworker that worked for this place that I lived in. It was called the Breakers Apartments. Santa Cruz, very expensive. I had to pay like I think my rent was like 1,400 or something plus. I was paying that out of pocket. I had a job. I was doing security. I was working for a company, which you may already know, um, Garda World. You know, I was working for them at a Safeway, two Safeways. Worked 4 days out of a week. Then the 3 days I went to school, went to college. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of events going on there. events that I was just like, wow, craze. Um, on top of that, I didn't I didn't understand some of the situations because the gentleman had during that time they had you know COVID assistance. You know, if you couldn't keep up with your pay because the rent had went up, the rent didn't really go up. Come to find out, the gentleman made up a story that the rent had went up. So what he did, he had multiple people apply for COVID assistance. And then we went out and got the COVID assistance. He took the money plus the rent that he had charged us extra. Like he made up some type of story that something was going on with the banks and all this other stuff through the COVID, and the leasing office was not getting in contact with him. Other people on different programs. There was military people there, people with social aid, people that were elderly, people that were on Section 8, people that were on multiple different programs there. Like I said, it was like probably four of us. And I was paying my rent. Um, but once again, he had claimed that we were in debt due to the fact that during the fire, remember I told you that the in the last story time I told you that the Red Cross had came and helped out. So when putting some money down, we had our own monies, but they came and helped out a little bit. And he claimed that he never got the money and blah 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 and this and that. And it was supposed to be the rent was supposed to be at a low amount. Then he changed the rent all of a sudden. Um, he ended up taking off and leaving. He tried to run a scam, like he tried to run multiple scams. So they were like, he was probably, I think, to tell you the truth, I think it was more than 45,000. I think it probably could have been up to 60 or $70,000 that he got away with, and it could have been 80,000 or more because he pretty much, a guy named was Luke. He pretty much scammed. He scammed the tenants, everybody. Certain people were going to court. I went to court with them. I ended up winning my court case because the judge seen that they had did so much scamming, lies, manipulations. They tried to come to court with some large form of paper, which the judge did not want to read because he said, "What is the point of this? This has nothing to do with the fact that you owe them money and that this happened." I didn't get the gentleman because he had no longer worked for the company. So, yeah, and I couldn't get the recovery of the $10,000 that came from the city and county because that came from the city and county money. I ended up winning. They had to pay me $4,000 plus they paid me another thousand. So they had lied. They gave me a check for 3,000 and something. I took them to court to get the rest of the money because it was supposed to be really 6 to 7,000 that they owed me. But due to all these different things they had scammed. So I got back 1,000 and something dollars. So on recovery, all like probably close to $6,000 I got back. But yeah, it was a really big scam. The COVID situation brought out a lot of scammers. A lot of people I didn't know were involved with scamming. Um, Very scary time because there was a lot of people that was displaced due to a lot of manipulation by groups, by people making up false narratives, lying, stealing money from tenants, um, scam schemes, the COVID funds that were taken from the state and city and county by some of these management companies. And the funny thing about it, I say about it, apologize. I got tongue twisted again. Funny thing about it is that um, some of these management companies didn't even need the money. The tenants were paying rent on time. Everything was good. It's just there was a time to scam for everybody. So, and during that time, my family member was working, um, and they had laid her off. And during the layoff, they told the workers that you can get unemployment because you were laid off. Somebody scammed and stole her unemployment card out of our mailbox, which was a federal crime. I had to contact um also the mail department, and that was another problem too also. So during that time it was just so many scams going on. My neighbor had their whole mail identity stolen from them. Somebody had forged checks in their names. It was really a hectic time. A lot of people was going through just a lot of just turmoil. But like I said, with my faith in the Most High and the grace and the glory that I give to the King of heaven and earth and the Messiah, I was able to get through it. And I'm here as living testimony. And that was a true event I wanted to share with you. I'm going to share another true event. I'm going to come back. I'm going to leave you with a slapper slumper. And I'm going to come right back. There we go. This is the Rose Room discussion with MLRose podcast, trademark Intelligent Sounds. All right, all right. It's the Rose Room discussion. I'm back. For some reason, all right. It's the Rose Room discussion. I'm back. For some reason, I was kicked off. Not sure what happened, but I'm back. Yeah. Um, I was kicked off for some apparent reason. You already know. Probably somebody found something I was saying was too much. But I told you about the guy named Luke. That was at the Breakers Apartments in Santa Cruz that had stowed over close to probably I would say probably 80,000 in my um calculation of money, and had us all going out and get these COVID relief funds from the city and county. On top of that, he told us that our rent had went up, which it didn't. And on top of that, he had made up all I told you about the Watsonville event and about the gentleman Mr. Francis Gritson and how he was cooking crystal meth and how I had to experience my first structure fire situation and being a victim in that situation, and how I pretty much endured to be where I'm at now. So the second true story event is that I moved from Santa Cruz, moved out, moved back to the Bay Area, where I'm from originally, um, from California, born and raised, grew up here all my life. Only for particular times I moved out the state due to job opportunities. I did work for the Forest Service, so I did move around. I would stay in one place probably like for 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of a month. And we would move to places, go to places like Tennessee. I've been there, lived there for a small portion of time. Um, I would say that because you're there for 3 weeks, so pretty much you're living there. Um, and other places like I would say Utah, um, Pretty much been to North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, Chicago, um, Minneapolis area, Washington D.C. Um, where else? Virginia, Virginia Beach area. Where else? I would say where else? Down south. Been to down south. Been to I think it was Kentucky. Kentucky. Where else did we go? Um, New Mexico, close to we went close to Texas, but not fully up over there. But we were close by the border of Texas. So we went to New Mexico between the border of New Mexico and that area. Arizona, been there multiple times, been all over globe. Phoenix, been all over AZ. Shout out to AZ. It's like a home away from home. Been there for so many times. Um, where else? Nevada. That was another place we went to. On the border of that place, we fought a fire up over there. Pretty really hot. Um, where else did we go to? Washington State. Um, where else? Oregon State fought fires up over there too. Montana. Montana. Shout out to them. We fought a national disaster fire. Actually made history in that fire, being the first crew to come out of this part of the California. And we were on a younger fire crew. So we made history, pretty much. Um, and we was the first ever crew to do that. Um, because we were like kids that were like probably we were 18, 19, and 20. We were explorer firemen. So we weren't official firemen. We were in training firemen at a fire camp for young adults who were trying to get into pretty much become established in fire. And we were getting all our certifications and certificates. But we were also trained and fight real fires along real firemen because we just were a type one fire crew. So yeah, we made history. Um Idaho, that was a real true experience. The females followed us all the way out of the city because they never seen so many diverse groups of people. So where else did we go? I'm pretty much all over United States. Just some places I didn't go to because they weren't you know, on the list of obligations at that time. But yeah, um with that said, moving back to the Bay Area, you know, moved to a place out here, kind of have the same little type of events going on. Had a meth head neighbor who broke into my vehicle again. Um, almost hurt him. Um, didn't want to because I don't want to mess up my freedom. He ended up getting kicked out anyway. They ended up seeing him on the camera. Once again, they didn't release the footage to me because it's just the same old scenario, same old story, same old time, same old bad channel. Um, the gentleman and his girlfriend and a bunch of people were meth heads, tweakers on bicycles. They pretty much were breaking into the where I live at right now. They were breaking into the rooms that had the UPS or the Amazon packages. They were coming on porches, snatching stuff. I have them on video. They snatched something off my porch. Gentleman tried to sit down and act like he was sitting on the stairs. My camera was able to see his hand, and he snatched just some stuff that was really rinky dink. I had some for my tarantula, some little things for my tarantula, and a pair of sweatpants, and he stole those, which showed me he was a Dauphine knock. So I didn't really too much pay attention to him fully. Felt sorry for him because I can see that he had nothing going for himself, but being a Dauphine. And at that age, that's really sad. When you're in your 30s and 40s, and that's all you accomplish in life is going around stealing from your neighbors in your neighborhood. You don't want to get a job and be a decent person, so you decide to go ahead and take from people who work hard and go to school. At this time, I was working for a security company out here in the Bay Area. So I explained to you about the situation with them. I don't work for them anymore due to some tragic events that took place, and in litigations with them at the moment because they made up a fabrication of events that happened that didn't happen that I had documented and that was documented on camera, and they lied to the state. So that'll be coming to the light soon. Anyway, long story short, um, when I moved into the place, uh, already right away, it was just situations going on. Like I said it to you, he was a young gentleman. I'm not sure if he was mixed with black and South American or if he was mixed with something else. I'm not sure what his ethical true race was, but he had a mental issue. He had two other siblings. They were pretty much like just running around causing neighborhood a nuisance in that area where I lived at. They're gone now because I had to step up and say something to the management and talk to a bunch of people and figure out a scenario why they were doing what they were doing. We all know cannabis is legal in the state of California. At this time, I was indulging in you know, a cigarette break. Um, the gentleman had came out when I was across the street, asked me where he can buy cannabis. I told him, yeah, the store's right across the street, right around the corner. He said it to me that I should not talk to him like that because he's a neighborhood boss and all these other things of this nature. He came and asked me, I'm sitting there smoking a cig, if I knew where he can buy cannabis. And I told him I don't sell it. It's right there around the corner at the store. Like, why are you asking me that? Right there with a big sign. You're mentally ill. And he just came from around the corner. So he just was looking for something to start. He was really jealous. The gentleman also had a firearm. So he was trying to like intimidate me, which it didn't work. Because I asked him what was he talking about. I approached him face to face like a man. I had no weapons on me, no nothing at all. Just had a pair of shorts on and some flip flops. Having a cigarette break outside. Um, because you can't smoke on the balcony or anywhere inside of your apartment. So I followed the rules. Went outside. He then proceeded to yell and scream, and I said, "Okay, let me be right back. Let me go put some clothes on. If this is what you're trying to do and act crazy, let me go get my camera so I can record you and find out who you are because I don't really like to engage with children. I want to find out who their fathers and parents are because sometimes these kids act out trying to mimic certain things that are not really real and they fabricate it due to the fact that they want to have some attention and they want to be seen. So I had to then ask the neighbors, did they know this kid? One of the people told me, yes, his mother stays right here. They're on the program. And I was like, okay, I'm not trying to call the police on this kid. I'm just trying to figure out what is his mental health issue because he's trying to ask me for marijuana, and the store is right there. And if he's not of age, why is he asking for marijuana from adults? And where's his parent at? And why is he not being productive and going to school and doesn't have a job at age 18? And he's running around here doing these type of things in the neighborhood and causing problems with people running around with a firearm. So, I didn't bring any police or law enforcement into it. I just wanted to talk to his parent. The parent refused to talk to me. So I did the next thing, contacted management, said, hey, can you have a sit down with this person? Is there something wrong with him? Is he mentally ill, mentally handicapped? Is he disabled mentally? Because, a lot of these kids have other things going on. I didn't want to jump to the case of him being a street person because I can see he really wasn't because he's on a bicycle. Um, And then, let alone he went to go get his uncle after that or some older gentleman that was like an older man with glasses. And then his three siblings got in the vehicle. Then he jumps out with a firearm, telling me that he would hurt me and harm me and do all these things. So I recorded it. I didn't give it to no law enforcement. I just recorded it and put it on my timeline, Facebook and my Instagram to show how stupid he looked. Then later on, they ended up getting whatever happened. So yeah, And once again, like I said, management had it on video. The owner and them came out. And nobody seemed to want to do anything to this child. And I really feel kind of sad and bad because I feel like, wow, this young man's future is going down a road of destruction. He's literally out here throwing away his life, trying to be something that he's really not. And he doesn't really know what he's doing. And it's a sad case of another person, pretty much lost to the system. And he had his two siblings with him looking like idiots, running around, causing problems in the neighborhood. So, it was really sad to see, in a nice place where I'm living at, because the neighborhood is not a bad place. It's not a low income place of that nature. There's not a lot of people doing sideshows and not stuff going on of that nature. It's not a place where it's problematic, but it could become problematic if people don't care. And I guess, yeah, I had to deal with that. And the management just allowed it to go on until I said something. I guess they had a group of gentlemen that was staying at a place. They were on you know, a program here. But they had like 12 people. They were selling dope, breaking the gate, having tweakers come in at night. The same tweakers I told you about that stowed off my porch. I kind of had to check them because they were coming in front of my apartment, drinking beer and thinking it was a party central area smoking. So I told them, don't come nowhere near my apartment. Don't stand near my apartment. Don't smoke near my apartment. If you're going to do it, take it to in front of your apartment where you live at. Don't bring none of that where I'm at because I don't want that type of atmosphere when I'm coming back home from work or coming from school of you thinking it's an okay place to be disrespectful. They abide by that for the moment. But then after a while, they were bringing like multiple people there. Like I said, it was 2 people on the lease, but it was like 12 people staying there, so, after a while, they got too rowdy. I guess something happened, they had to move out because it just got out of control, and that's what happens when, I had to let them know, put my foot down. I guess, me stating something to them kinda put some fear into that situation, and then me, taking precaution and standing up to them because everybody else, like, they were scared to death. So, yeah, these are true events that happen. All right, that's my last true event. I'm gonna get into a little lightweight conversation about something that's just happened recently, and then after that, that's the end of my rose room discussion. Sorry about the first part cutting out. That was due to some technical difficulties. I'm not really sure what that was about, but you know, it didn't stop anything. Let me get into another slapper slumper. We're gonna keep it moving like that. Once again, this is the Rose Room Discussion podcast show hosted by MLRose, Trademark Intelligent Sounds. All right, all right, all right. I'm back. All right. So we just had the recent Super Bowl. We just seen that the Philadelphia Eagles won. Um, Seen the show that went on, halftime show. I didn't really tune into it. I'm not a fan of either team, but you know, I didn't really player hate. I just made a best man win situation, and I guess the best men win in that situation, the Eagles. On top of that, seeing a bunch of celebrity stuff going on, other performance that was going on. I guess there was some controversy with that. The presidential candidate was there, or the president himself was there. I apologize for saying candidate. President was there himself, present situation with him and some other celebrity. I don't really get into celebrity gossip and stuff like that. Um, and we just seen a bunch of stuff happening. Um, with that short note, that was one thing that kind of took the attention span away from, I guess, recently. Um, another country from the eastern part of the world was strategizing some type of missile launches. I'm not going to get into it. They were shooting them over the ocean. I see nobody didn't report about that. On top of that, they had another event going on where a black woman was sleeping in her vehicle. And I guess I heard this story recently. She came back from a party. She was tired. Next thing you know, she was pulled over, stripped down naked. She won a settlement, but this is like back, but I just heard this story. Very strange, odd story. Um, the Young Turks, that's the name of that network. They were able to speak on that a little bit more in depth. On top of that, there was multiple events going on. I guess with the gentleman that was um put into custody by some federal agency. I guess he also won a case where they had beaten him or attacked him for the wrong identity. I guess they thought he was another person that he wasn't, and I guess they jumped out on him. I guess he had won some part of his case, but I think he's doing a major lawsuit. So he won in one part of it, pretty much because he wasn't the person that they were looking for. This happened last year um, in the state of Arizona. So they gave some detail on that. Recently, multiple events been going on. Once again, child pornography. They had a gentleman recently that was caught. He was a teacher or some type of person that worked with the staff. He was later found on his computer multiple images of other staff members, other adults having sexual intercourse with children, and also him having sexual intercourse with an animal. Found that very disturbing because, once again, the news didn't cover that. Um, and this happened here in the United States, and I guess they're trying to press charges on the other people to come forward. Um, we also had some events here in the Bay Area. Same thing. A gentleman here in the Bay Area. I think he was uh, cutting hair. They're still looking for him. I think he drugged some males. I'm not sure how this was able to happen. I'm not sure if he was cutting their hair, and they said he drugged them while he was cutting their hair, and then had sexual intercourse with them, and then videotaped it, and then escaped and ran off to some other country. So these are very odd, strange events. I've never heard of events like this before in my life, but yeah, they're happening. Um, and pretty much right now they're saying that cinnamon sticks, cinnamon itself could be the true cure for blood pressure. Now, don't quote me. This is by scientists and studies and by some doctors and physicians. They're stating this. I don't know. Remember when they had the Kanye pepper and the lemon and the other stuff that you can use to flush your system? So we don't know. And then now they're saying, experts are saying that's not really a good thing to use. And then, now we have cinnamon, so who knows? But yeah, yeah, don't be afraid to try different things out there. But yes, this is the Rose Room discussion. That was my conversation time. That was my true event stories, which I talked about the Watsonville situation with the Mr. Francis Gritson and him cooking the crystal meth and the management of the building, the Pajero apartments. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, at 30 West Beach Street, Watsonville, and the garage and my vehicle being broken into, and then the guy by the name of Luke that was at the apartments called the Breakers in Santa Cruz, California, being involved with the fraud, and thus far the situation that happened here in the Bay Area where I live at, and the events that just took place. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you for tuning in. Once again, this is MLRose. This is the Rose Room Discussion Podcast, trademark Intelligent Sounds. And I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to tune into my podcast show. I'm going to leave you with a slapper slumper. I apologize for being kicked off the air. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe the powers that supposedly be are low key player hating on your boy because I'm speaking some real, probably ruffling some feathers. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with this. All right. Appreciate you. Slapper slumper. Ooh, that slap too. Once again, this is MLRose with the Rose Room Discussion Podcast Show hosted by Michael L. Rose, trademark Intelligent Sounds, all right reserved. This podcast show is based on entertainment purposes. The views and discussions that are pretty much shared on this show are from a theoretical, entertainment, and also knowledgeable standpoint. Your discretion was advised. I appreciate you for tuning in. Let that slap out. Yeah. Let it go. Oh.